Being poor isn't a curse, it's the doorway to awakening. Topic of the day. The Tao wholeness through flexibility. When a person tries too hard, they break easily. The harder one tries to hold on, the more things slip away. World stagnates, friends drift apart, even the eyes of family start to dim with quiet disappointment. Life becomes a stream pulled too tight, one more stretch, and it might snap. The world grows louder, yet the heart grows heavier. Effort turns into anxiety the more one struggles, the poorer one feels. But no one ever said this. Sometimes, letting go carries more strength than holding on. This is the story for today. A story about poverty but not about pain. Story real struggle Taoist reversal. Night was deep. Rain tapped gently on a worn rooftop. A dim lamp flickered inside the small, damp room. A young painter sat at his desk, gripping a brush worn down to its root. His paintings didn't sell. Rent was due. Dinner was a bowl of cold rice. He stared at the window and wondered, what did I do wrong? He painted with care, fought with depth, yet no one seemed to notice. He began to suspect that effort itself was a cruel joke. That night, he walked to the river. The wind was cold, sharp, like mockery. An old man was sitting by the bank, quietly fishing in the rain. Raindrops slid down his shoulders, but he didn't move, didn't even cover himself. The young man asked, "What fish on a night like this? The fish won't bite." The old man smiled. Fishing isn't always about catching fish. Then what is it for? The old man said slowly, "It's for catching the heart." At that moment, the wind softened, and the wind grew gentle. The old man looked at him and whispered, "Crooked is whole, bend is straight. Low is full, world is renewed." Sometimes, he continued, we bend not to break. We lower ourselves to hold more. The young man didn't fully understand, but the words lingered in his mind like ripples on the water. The longer he listened, the quieter he became. The next day, he didn't rush to paint. He wandered through the streets watching faces, listening to sounds, seeing the light reflect off raindrops on roof tiles. He realized that light's lines carried more beauty than his brush ever could. A few days later, he painted again. A simple bowl, crate, catching the falling rain. At the exhibition, people stopped to stare. Some said the painting had a soul. Others said, that broken bowl feels alive. He smiled. In that moment, he understood the old man's words. Sometimes, to be broken is to be whole. Sometimes, to be low is to be full. Philosophical uplift, Taoist wisdom, gentle comfort. The wind calmed. The sky cleared. The river flowed on, indifferent, eternal. The young man finally realized poverty wasn't punishment from fate. It was life's way of teaching humility and clarity. Lassie once said, crookedness keeps you whole, bending keeps you alive. Softness isn't weakness, bending isn't failure. When one touches the soul, one begins to feel its power. He no longer fought against the world. When he painted, he listened to the wind, smelled the ink, and no longer rushed to be seen. He knew the flower that belonged to him would bloom at its own time. Spring came. The willow by the river turned green again. The old man was gone, but his fishing rod still stood there, leaning gently in the breeze. The young man walked over, straightened it, and smiled. The wind swayed the rod, the shadow trembled calm and alive. He understood that true wealth isn't in what you own, but in a heart that no longer feels poor. True victory isn't in speed, but in stillness, and in reflection called to interaction. So, real abundance isn't a room full of gold, but a heart filled with light. When you're broke, don't panic. When you're lost, don't rush. Cook it is whole, bend it straight. Bend a little, the road smooths out. Slow down, the heart finds peace. Life doesn't fear poverty, it fears hardness of heart. To yield is to endure. To soften is to last. Have you ever had a moment where you gave everything, yet life still knocked you down? A night when you wanted to give up but couldn't? Share your thoughts in the comments. When did you first understand the power of letting go? This is Wang Nian Nian. May you, too, hear that soft whisper in life's rainy nights. The low place isn't always suffering, sometimes it's the way. Wang Nian Nian, walking the Tao with you.